Alright, chess fellas, let's dive deep into a scenario that I bet feels all too familiar. You're in the middle of a game as white, things are getting tense, and black has just captured one of your pawns, threatening your rook. Your first instinct? You think, where should I move my rook? A classic reaction, right? After all, it's under direct attack and the clock is ticking. So you scan the board and there's only one seemingly safe square for your rook to retreat to. You're just about to breathe a sigh of relief, but black keeps the pressure on, developing their knight. Now, this knight isn't just some passive move, it's got its eye on protecting the pawn you're thinking of attacking. You're not just dodging one threat. Suddenly, you feel surrounded by potential dangers. At this point, you realize you can't castle because black's pesky bishop is slicing through your ranks, controlling the key diagonal. So, what do? Your mind locks onto defense mode. You think, I'll place my bishop here, then I can castle next turn. It's not a terrible plan, but is it the best? Probably not. The game continues, and black takes another pawn. Now it's your turn to react again. You capture it back with your knight, but you're avoiding taking it with the king because you're still desperately holding on to your castling rights. Now black makes another smart move, bringing their rook to d8, which again leaves you in a position where you can't castle. You're feeling stuck, and you might not realize it yet, but black is clearly in a superior position. Here's the key takeaway. At this point, you're only thinking about solving immediate problems. You're asking, how do I stop this attack? How do I get out of this bind? But Grandmasters approach the game differently. They aren't just reacting, they're planning several moves ahead. Let's bring in a timeless piece of chess wisdom from Emanuel Lasker. When you see a good move, look for a better one. This is where the magic happens. You see, the move you were focusing on, saving your rook, was a good move, but not necessarily the best. A Grandmaster looks at the same board and sees something more profound. They recognize that even though there's pressure on that pawn, there's a bigger opportunity lurking just beneath the surface. So what's the better move? A Grandmaster knows that simply moving the rook isn't the key here. Instead, they think, how do I shift the balance of power? That's when the move bishop to d5 comes into play. It might not be the most obvious move to the average player, but here's where it gets interesting. At first glance, you're probably wondering, why sacrifice the bishop? Won't black just capture it? Sure, black can take it, but now the entire position changes. Once that central pawn is placed on d5, the queen is no longer protecting the pawn it was once guarding. The moment black takes that bishop, white is now in position to strike. Suddenly, you're able to take the unguarded pawn with check, forcing the king to move. You're not done yet. Now you can capture black's rook, delivering another check in the process. The king is scrambling, and before they know it, black is on the defensive. And here's where the psychology of chess comes into play. The average player might get too excited at this point and rush into a move that seems like an obvious win. You might think, let's deliver another check. But beware, this is where blunders happen. Giving a meaningless check just because it's there can be a fatal mistake. Black could use that opportunity to develop their knight, and suddenly, you're the one in deep trouble. They could capture both your rooks, and what seemed like a winning position spirals into disaster. So what's the correct approach? This is where you need to think like a grandmaster. Instead of focusing on short-term checks, ask yourself, how do I finish this off? The key here is recognizing that black's king is stuck in the center, vulnerable to a coordinated attack. You don't need to play passively or defensively anymore. It's time to go on the offensive. Here's where the genius of chess strategy shines. The best move in this situation is bishop to f4. Why? Because it lines up a powerful sequence of attacks. Even if black captures both of your rooks in response, they're walking right into a devastating trap. From here, you have a checkmate in 3 moves, and there's no escape for black. Let's play it out. First, you deliver a check with your queen. The king is forced to move, but the options are shrinking fast. Next, you bring in your knight, delivering another check. The king is boxed in, and black is running out of space. Finally, you bring down the hammer with your queen, delivering the finishing blow, checkmate. This entire sequence demonstrates the difference between reacting to threats and controlling the game. A Grandmaster doesn't just see the board in terms of immediate dangers, they see the potential in every position. At the very start, they didn't waste time moving the rook just because it was attacked. Instead, they realized they had an advantage in development. White's pieces were more active, and with that understanding, they found the most effective way to press the attack. So, the next time you're in a tough spot, remember this lesson. Don't just react, plan, strategize, and always look for the better move. I hope this analysis helps you see chess from a new perspective. Mastering the game isn't just about solving problems, it's about creating your own opportunities. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.